Mr. Moore?
Here.
Mr. Raftopoulos?
Here.
Mr. Nordhaus?
Here. Next we have the approval of minutes of September 16, 2019.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes.
Second. Motion has been made and second to approve the minutes as presented. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carried. Next we have the information technology accomplishments, request for services and status report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Projects in progress. We are still in progress with transitioning from eStorm to Campus Solutions. Again, this won't be a change to our URL. It will still be called eStorm. It will still be branded eStorm, but it will be a mobile-friendly version of eStorm. It'll be more tile-based rather than the big wide screen that we have now with our eStorm. So we're very hard at work at that. We're also working on a Campus Solutions People Tools upgrade. Every 2 years we have to upgrade all of our systems. We are skipping a release. We're going from 8.5.5 to 8.5.7. We try to do that in 2-year increments because they're good for 2 years. So instead of doing it every year, we try to go on 2-year cycles. We also have been creating some institutional metrics dashboards to better look at our persistence, our retention, our developmental reading, developmental writing, and developmental math, so that we have a better handle on what's going on. And we'll get those dashboards in the faces of the people that need to see them at their level. So we've been working on that really hard. Also working on a bulk computer order, hope to bring that to the next board meeting so that we do our annual order of new computers for the institution. And we're still working on the Windows 10 updates and are still on schedule to have them all updated by the end of the year. Any questions? Oh, sorry.
Any questions from trustees? Thank you. Next we have first reading of two proposed amendments. Mr. Mance, are you going to handle that?
Yeah, I guess I could do that. Under 2001, we put some changes in there, and then I've got some more input since then, so I think this will be under the first reading, but this policy wasn't looked at for a long time, since back in May of '03, so that's the last date on it. So we made a few changes in there that are marked out in red, and then the blue ones are the new notes on it. And then I think Richard's got a few more changes that we want to make to this reading after this first reading. I think we've got some additional changes that you sent to me, so.
So the point being, we can accept changes or comments from now until the next committee meeting?
Well, the next committee meeting will have reading number 2, so we can still accept comments all the way up until then.
Mr. Moore, with the suggestions Mr. Lopez has made, could those be incorporated and then when the board approves first reading, those can be disseminated?
What you disseminate to the college community should be.
They should.
Okay.
So this, in regards to trustee bylaws, do you anticipate comments from other than trustees?
Well, I hope so. If there's some comments on it, but most likely it's going to be trustees. Because administrators are not involved. So I think it would be.
I think I got a pretty simple question. Garrett, I sent you a copy of board policy there, quote straight from it. I'm having a little bit of a problem trying to understand the board policy. I have a copy that is different than what you guys are putting out. I downloaded a copy from InfoShare, which is the one that goes out to everybody at the school, correct, Linda? InfoShare?
That's the,
So I downloaded my copy straight from there. My copy has a lot of things in it that are missing from this new board policy. Now, looking around, doing a little research, digging into it, we've never passed anything, we've never done anything to pull these out, so there's a lot of things that have fallen out of the board policy. Just for example, I mean, just very simple, the one that we're striking today for, where it says 3 days, Garrett, if you can, you actually have the exact copy. I mean, I just cut and pasted it. Where it talks about
11.
Thanks for letting me go on.
Okay, where we're changing it, where the blue is, the copy I have actually goes further into it and reads more into it. So I guess my question is board policy number 1, who's in charge of oversight of board policy?
See, I'm a little confused on it too, and we've been talking about it, and Bev can give us some history on it, but I think a long time ago, it used to be Friedrich, I think, Larry
We
Friedrich.
started with Larry Friedrich, and
And
then
then,
from there it segued to H.O. Brownback. From there it went to Mike Fleming. From there it went to Clay Bateman. Then it had Janet and Donna involved. And then when Clay was not here, then I took it over.
and I think to Steve, I think you're correct. I was going through it, and I had a hard time because I pulled out Clay's book, and I started looking through that Clay's book, trying to match it up with InfoShare and the others. I found policies where this 3-day stuff was blank, there was nothing, you know, they didn't even say the 5 days. And then there's others that said 5 days on it. So I think over the history, since everybody's been handling them, I don't think there's consistency, so we need to try to get some consistency here, so that would be helpful. And the second thing is that, as I was going through Clay's book, I started noticing that there's policies in there that are not on InfoShare. So he's got an older book that I started looking through, and I'm thinking, well, I'm gonna look these up, and I started looking them up on InfoShare, and they're not there. So
Right.
evidently, they never got put on to the system. So I think Richard indicated that he wanted to start looking through all the policies, which I think is probably a good idea.
Well,
But it's
then,
gonna take
my
some
question
time.
to you then, how are you going to ensure that we will have a correct version of the policies even marked up, so to speak?
I think the critical thing is that if it looks like it's real old and it's missing stuff and there's policies got new items, you know, I think we should keep the newer, you know, the one with the most items in it. I'm not so sure you want to take them out unless the board wants to say to take them out. Example, if there was a policy that was 15 pages long, and then there's another one that's only 2 pages, I would think we need to look at the one that's got 15 pages and say, okay, is this stuff needed, not needed? Why did it go down to 2, or was the two page down to 4 to 15? So I think we need to take a look at it and try to look at it and say, okay, let's take the 15 page, not the 2, and work the 15 page and try to, hey, does this need to be in there? Do we need to take this out, whatever it is? But because I don't want to miss something. I mean,
Well, Lyndon, I don't know if you have these rooms, years ago, I mean, our board policies were written in so many different formats. It was Word Perfect, it was, I mean, they were all different versions. And I think Aaron Nance was the IT individual who was selected to try to at least put them in one repository. And I think that's how we got them in some sort of an electronic format. And so they were all over the place, so.
any suggestions from anybody else? I mean, I'm open.
Did you say Richard was gonna review them all?
Richard indicated that he wanted to start
The
going through
committee
them all.
will review them all.
Oh,
Still
I thought
working on-
maybe like bring them home.
No,
They have nothing to do, so we're just gonna sit down and review
I
policy.
just finished my stint on the ICCTA reviewing policy and operational procedures. That took a year. I'm going to delegate some of this stuff, but the committee will be in charge of that. My question still remains,
Oh, it's a new guy.
can you
You got it.
can you devise a process that will take into account these variations and how you can resolve it?
Okay, what I could do is I
Because
could go.
we'll need that again,
Right.
looking at the
What
other.
I think we could do, and if we would please the committee and the board, if it's all right, if I find 2 or 3 of them and they're different, what I could do is put them together, and then we try to come up with one, but at least you'll have the support behind the other 2. In other words, you're gonna see both versions. You'll see the 2 or 3 versions that don't make any sense.
Well, how are we going to know which ones are?
Well, I'm gonna try and decipher out the,
Well, shouldn't they have
Yeah,
you know, have a date in the corner.
But
They
they
do.
don't know, that's the problem.
But
is
the
that-
problem, I don't think they changed the date.
No, I'm telling you, they're all over.
When it's been updated.
Bernie, what you got going on?
No, we would, what's the board on there? What's
But
the-
there one day in
Yeah,
2013 or
please,
2010, didn't Larry Friedrich go through all this and redo I'm talking about the entire thing start to finish?
Well, apparently that doesn't do us much good today.
Well, but it's somewhere, I mean, I'm saying that if we knew that was a starting point, I mean, I can email you the 2013 version I have, because like I said, I mean, in reading it, I mean, there's a policy in there about
Mail it
service.
to the president.
There's a thing in there about service members, and it's completely out of the new one.
Yeah, I think we need to look at, and I agree with you, Steve, the other thing that I think we should do is that, I think what they were doing in the past, if they looked at this, and if the administration thought that there was not much of a change or anything like that, it might have been a typo or something, they never brought it to the board, the way I understand from Bev. So in other words, if there was a typo or something, so they never brought it to the board. Then it left the date up here, the old date. So they may have looked at it in 2013, but they never changed the date. So I suggested to Richard and everybody that as we go through these, we put the current date on them, even if there is no change.
And I think what needs to be done is you get the current one, I mean, the most current one you think you have, and then somebody goes through that, and then when we think it's all, or some of them needs to be changed, we make the changes, or if we think it's okay, then we'll approve that one.
Yeah, it's broken up, I mean,
Yeah.
there's policy missing out of the
Yeah.
policy manual.
But like I said, we'll have to get it all together, maybe, I know you guys are busy and everything, but maybe you have some secretary or something.
We're gonna have to.
This has to.
So that's why I'm asking for a plan that will address these issues and come up with a written version that says, okay, this is what we're going to do to handle this policy. What about the other 200 that this committee will have to review? We need some process that would help us find out which ones are legit.
Yeah.
So I'm asking that whatever method you come up with on this policy, generalize it so it's applicable to the rest of the policy. Because we want to do this once and for all, one time through.
Correct.
If it takes a full year, so be it.
Yeah.
But let's get everything up to snuff on the whole thing.
And is it okay if the trustees, if you want, if I find 3 policies like on 201, I'll try to clean it up and put a good one, but then I also include the other 3 so you guys can look at them. Is that okay with you? So that way we don't miss anything, you know, I mean, we need a
Have another
process.
set of eyes,
Yeah.
what you're getting at, correct?
Right. The second set on.
Do you have comments, Nick?
Second thought.
Bob? No, that sounds good to me.
I do know, all of the trustees were provided electronically on a jump drive, board policies, and it was dated October 2018. And that was taken directly from the website. And even then, we realized that there's so many inequities, so many different.
So you would take that one and review everything and see what's wrong and what needs to be changed?
Well, that I think would be a starting point,
Yeah.
because that is what's posted on InfoShare. So to me, that would be the most current. And I'm not saying that they are current, but that's the document that they have always.
But I would say you probably need to go back to 2013 and start there. I mean, listen, I went through it, I mean, I don't know all the rules and all the bylaws, and I mean, I just kind of read it, and I mean, you can obviously see, like I said, somebody brought the service member one up to me, and I tried to look in 2013, I looked in 2018, so.
Well, are we,
And that's something that's probably Nick and Bev, they'll have to
We just have to.
organize, set a plan,
Right.
and then, you know, every week do a little bit of it till you get it done,
Right.
well,
you know?
then are we considering pulling policy 2001 from first reading? I think it's too volatile right now.
Now, I don't have a problem, you wanna wait on it, we can pull it and then take a look at it so we can support it, that's fine. Is that okay with everybody? So we'll pull that from first reading.
So basically, we're pulling 2001 from first reading.
Right, until we can get our act together. I'm sorry, Larry.
No, they're a mess.
That was my only gripe, 'cause I was reading it,
Yeah, I know, and I was the same way with you when I started pulling everybody else.
I'm just messing with you.
Any questions on what we're doing with 2001?
say about it.
Board policy 7013.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The telephone and equipment services proposal, we'd like to make we're asking for a change. Basically, currently, if a person makes a long-distance phone call, we charge them for that long-distance phone call. And we've been charging like 3 cents and 2 cents and coming up with these bills based on the fact that long-distance carriers don't charge large amounts like they used to. Now we're nickel and diming, and the whole bill for last year was $15. And so we're spending a lot of time creating invoices and sending them out, and following up on them and sending them to the business office, and then they're processing them. So we're looking at changing the policy just to say that individuals may be asked to reimburse excessive charges for personal calls. And then we'll monitor it and look for excessive charges and just charge those instead of the pennies.
Okay, given the nature of these two documents, the policy and the AP, let's go ahead and consider that this be first reading, or recommend to the board that this be the first reading. And I can still give an opportunity to get any comments from staff, whatever, so it's not the same magnitude as 2001.
And this was reviewed in 2010, and the book that Chris Leisha had from that time matched the documents on these two. So I don't have a concern that they're out of date from what I was looking at.
So we need a motion. The chair entertain a motion that we recommend to the full board that for policy 713 and the associated administrative procedures, that they be set up for first reading.
So moved.
Second. Motion has been made and seconded that we allow 7013 and 7013 AP to go through our first reading. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carried. Thank you. Next we have review of policy 2002.
Okay. I'll explain this one a little bit. This basically says the formulation of board policy. I looked at it, I don't think there's any change on here, but this is an example, and this is where we kind of need a little bit of direction, and I think it has to go to the board. When we mentioned before, the administration used to look at it, this policy, there's no change on it. So basically, if there's no change on it, all the administration did was just walk right over it and say, okay, we're not gonna do anything, and they just left it alone. My problem with it is that I think all board policies should be reviewed by the policy committee, because as a board, you guys need to approve it, and then we can put a date up here that it was reviewed. All I'm saying is that if we follow the prior administration, where we look at it and say, okay, that looks all right, we put it back in the book, there's no date on here, and the other thing is, by rights, it is a board policy, and it should go to the board. So I'm asking for direction on that. That's what I'm recommending here, is that we take all board policies to the board, and we date stamp them that they will look at, okay, reviewed or whatever, so.
I think the one question, of one comment I made on 2002, could we include a specific reference to an annual review of policies and administrative procedures, so that it's documented that
In this process.
we will have an annual review process.
So what's the direction? I mean, I can add that clause on there, and then we can take it to first reading, but I do think that as we go through them, I'm asking that we take it to the board. I mean, I think you guys approve board policy, it's not administrative.
I Is the question that all board policies will, and procedures will be reviewed on an annual basis?
Yes.
That's quite, that's voluminous, that's a lot, so is there some thought maybe
Well,
to split them up?
Well, the process I might suggest is that is there any available software on the market or something we can put together with various sources that will help that laborious process of going through them and making some comments. Let's see if we can automate a lot of this process somehow.
Is there any good in putting together a small committee through the school of administrators, 4 people, 3 people, that can stay on point on this, that if you lose one, it's, in other words, it's not a situation where you lose Clay Bateman, Mike Fleming, H.O. Brownback, Larry Friedrich. It's one person. And then when something's
I
lost,
would consider that after we get some,
once we got to a starting point,
yes.
yes.
Once we get a good starting point, then I would consider involving additional people, but keeping that group small.
Right.
Otherwise, who's
Right.
in charge? Well, I thought you were gonna do that. That's not gonna.
Yeah,
fly.
just a committee maybe that reviews it, looks it over, brings it to us, tells us here's, these were the things, and then you can do that stamp like you're talking about, or that you're talking about.
Okay.
Just a thought, I mean, a committee, because
No,
then at
that's a
least,
good idea.
if somebody leaves, retires, gets in a car wreck, they're not here, now
It
somebody
continues
leaves
on.
remembers,
It
yes.
just continues.
You know, is there anybody out there, Garrett, you know, like in Freeburg, that Illinois codification, they review your ordinances every couple of years to make sure all the ordinances are up to date? Is there any company out there that reviews board policy to see?
You know, the school boards have the Illinois Association of School Boards Press Service, and Illinois Notification Services and the like are good for municipalities, but I'm not sure if there's any similar service, because the community college system doesn't have that many entities.
Yeah.
There are software packages out there.
Is
I
there-
started looking at some of them, and there's at least 10, 15. So maybe as a byproduct of this discussion, I would ask the administration to, okay, do a review of that, come back to the committee, top 3 cost, can they be integrated
Would that be
with what we
something
have?
Linda would do?
On that note, we have recently implemented the board policies into our SharePoint system, and it does flag when you have change, it has review dates, it has a lot of this functionality. The problem has been that we haven't used it yet, but the functionality exists in where they sit right now, but we would just have to use it.
Okay. Let me see if I can get a hard copy or electronic copy of what I looked at over the weekend.
Okay.
Compare that with what you have, then come back next month with kind of a critique of what our options might be.
Perfect.
Yeah, because I understand with SharePoint, you know, there's a lot of stuff you can do with that.
And we've done quite a bit of work on it, but we've just recently moved the documents from where they were, I would say, 3 years ago, into there. And it's been through several hands and since then, so I think we just need to get it.
Any questions on that?
Okay, based on that, I want to pull number 5, because there might be change.
So out of these 3, there's only one that survived, 7.
That's correct.
Well, you're getting feedback now for sure.
Well, good, I like that. And number 6, there's no action on that item. I just wanted to give everybody a copy of the information that came out on September of 2018, and you should have it in your packet, but this comes from the governing board, universities and colleges, but I included the letter that they got in there, and then also their information on the responsibilities for intercollegiate athletics. And I think they addressed 3 main points in there, but all I'm doing in here is giving you information that we have to develop a policy. It's not a policy yet, it's just information that we need to look at to try to develop a policy, because I think if you looked in your book and I looked in my book, I looked in Clay's book and there is no athletic policy. But then I found 2 paper copies of an athletic policy floating around. I don't know how old they are, but when we develop them, I just want everybody to look at what they're recommending.
So what's the next action item between now and the next committee meeting?
I think what I'm gonna do is listen to input from everybody, trustees and whatever, trustees and whoever wants to comment on this, and then we're gonna start developing a policy for athletics, but I'm sure it's not gonna be ready for first reading, but we'll probably have a draft or something like that.
So, the challenge to the trustees, please review these documents that Nick alluded to. And if you have comments, please get them in writing.
Is there anything that's more current that is more apt to junior college or community college? Because this organization is an awesome organization, they have a lot of great things, but they have 1,300 members, and they probably only have 20 community colleges. In the state of Illinois, they only have 7 involved in this, and of the 7, 5 don't have sports. And the two that do, their foundations run, it has nothing to do with community college.
Bev started pulling some information, but we only pulled just a few community colleges, so we're gonna pull some more information if we can. I don't know if there's anything that just has to do with community college, but I'll look for it.
What about pulling policy of other schools in our state
That's what we're trying to do.
that are comparable?
Right, we're trying to pull community college stuff, so. But like I said, there's quite a few, and then a lot of people don't, it's hard to get their policies, so I think Bev called 1 or 2 of them and they sent.
Now, what about our policy? Because we have 2 policies in there that are
Yeah, we
pretty
got,
rock solid in what they are. I mean, I've already read them, but yeah, 4016, I think.
in 4016.
4016 AD.
Yeah. And see, if you notice, those aren't on the invoice yet. And I don't know how that happened. But anyway, we're working on it, just so you know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Any other committee related to? Chairman, entertain a motion to adjourn.